welcome to the Own Your Life podcast. If you're new to this, we've been running the Own Your Life podcast for, gosh, probably about 2 or 3 years. We've had some of the biggest guests on, Grant Cardone, Eva Carmichael, Bradley, and a bunch of others. And not to freaking even mention Ken Joslin coming on this bad boy today. You're freaking crushing it. You're crushing it, and you're always chasing your potential. Were you always like that as a person? Were you always very driven? Or how did the Ken Joslin that everybody knows now become who you are now?
Yeah, I would say that there's always seasons. So, I don't know that it's been, just like a consistent 25 or 30 year period where it's been go, go, go.
Yeah.
But I would say this, that every moment in my life now with GSD, with real estate, it's always been marked by great relationships. So when I've had great people come into my life, it's helped stir something on the inside of me, ignite something, the catalyst to get me rolling again. And a couple of years ago, it was some crazy guy named Grant Cardone that I got connected with. Years before that, it was, in one of the things I love to do is umpire college baseball. I refereed college basketball forever. In each of the things I've done in the mortgage business, in the real estate business, I've always been around the best of the best of the best. When I say the best, I mean like literally the top in their field, some in the whole world, some in the country. And so there's been seasons, and then in whatever area it is, whether it be ministry, whether it be real estate, whether it be my hobbies, I guess you would call them, officiating. I love to do. It's always been marked by great relationships, and so it's been one thing for us. We just literally have now the last several years have just been moving from one moment to the next moment in building GSD and building our real estate teams, and leading up to January and our big event that we're doing in Atlanta.
Yes. Can you tell people about the event that don't know about it?
Yeah, so we're doing Create, the #1 conference, entrepreneur conference. We're bringing it to Atlanta. We've been around the country, Nashville twice, Scottsdale, Arizona, Las Vegas. We were in Las Vegas at Bradley's event space last month, or actually the 1st of October. So we are bringing an unbelievable lineup. This is going to be the largest conference that we've done, entrepreneurial conference, 2.5 days focused to helping business leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. We've got an unbelievable lineup. John Maxwell will be in the house, Nicole Arbor, some girl named Melissa Jackson. She will be in the house, Jesse Itzler. The lineup, Randy Garn, Jen Gottlieb, my good buddy Craig Siegel, Dave Meltzer, Anthony Trucks. The lineup is absolutely phenomenal. This will be, and it's going to be amazing. I've got one of my really, really good buddies. We've got a live band coming in for 2.5 days to do cover tunes. We're doing a fundraising dinner for my good friend David Pollack from ESPN's College Game Day, and Hugh Jackson. Hugh's the former NFL head coach for the Raiders and the Browns. So we're doing that on Thursday night. I've got the #1 barbecue guy. We're doing it in Atlanta. So if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So we're bringing one of the top barbecue guys in the world and the #1 guy in the Atlanta area. He's coming in to cater the dinner Thursday night. John Maxwell is actually going to be doing the 30-minute keynote for that as well. It's going to be a phenomenal time. A lot of celebrities, a lot of sports figures from around Atlanta. Obviously, David, Hugh, they'll bring a ton of people. Silent auction for both of their charities. And then Friday, we get to business. And we kick it off Friday. We kick it off Friday morning with the one and only John Maxwell for an hour. It's going to be phenomenal.
So what I love about hearing you talk, like when I asked you, where did you come from? And you're talking about finding the best of the best and getting known by them and also studying them excessively. And what I love about that and hearing this, because some of this we've already talked about, but some of it's new, like the best barbecue person. Like that's phenomenal, because in my mind, that the fact that you're working with only the best and you're bringing only the best, even down to the frickin' barbecue man, which I'm sure is going to be awesome. I'm really excited about that.
It's going to be amazing.
But that speaks to your character. You're always chasing the best. You're always surrounding yourself by the best. So what keeps you studying these huge people? Like, if you've already gotten to the level that you're at, why do you keep looking for the next big expert in your life?
Yeah, I tell you, one of the most pivotal moments in my life I was a young youth pastor. We had just planted a church in 96, 97. I was trying to build this youth group. I had like 5 or 6 kids. It was the worst youth group in America. I had about 5 or 6 kids, and I heard a pastor say this statement. He said, kids aren't ashamed of God. They're just ashamed of their youth group. And he
Mm.
talked about doing things with excellence. And he
Yeah.
talked about it doesn't matter what your budget is, it doesn't matter what you have. Do everything that you do and do it with excellence. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if your youth group's meeting in a mop closet. Like it better be the best mop closet in the history of the world. And I literally took what Pastor Willie said that day and I said, you know what? Everything I do from this point forward, I'm going to do with excellence. And
Mm.
literally from that moment, I grew that youth ministry from 5 kids to several hundred in a town north of Atlanta, which really kind of started my journey and understanding of vision, of mission statement, of core values. And from there, I just began to grow. But that moment when he said, teenagers aren't ashamed of God, they're just ashamed of their youth group. And I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna build something that they're not ashamed of. I'm going to build something. We're going to do something so excellent. Listen to this. In 6 weeks, our church had bought a Walmart shopping center.
Mhm.
And we had grown from a half a dozen kids to 150 in a room that was like 20 by 20. We couldn't
Yeah.
even fit all the kids in there every Wednesday night. It was an unbelievable season of growth, favor. And when we bought that new shopping center, they were going to give me 2,400 square feet. I talked to them and they give me 7,200. I raised $75,000 in my community in 6 weeks from businessmen by casting vision of what we were going to do to be able to impact the teenagers and the students in our
Yeah.
city. And from that point forward, I've never looked back. But it was that one statement from Willie George where he said, kids aren't ashamed of God, they're just ashamed of their youth group. And I said, you know what, everything I do from this point forward, I'm going to do with excellence. And when you talk about excellence, when you live a life of excellence, it automatically puts you in proximity of the people that we're talking about.
Hot damn, dude. Mic drop. I wish I had one of those bomb buttons that Brad Lee has.
Like
Because
Brad's got. I got in trouble when I was doing closure school for Brad because he's got a machine gun, he's got the bomb, and I'm dropping bombs. So Brad's outside on the back deck smoking a cigar, and he's
yeah.
on his iPhone, and I kept hitting the button. He goes, "Hey, damn it, those are my buttons. You don't hit my buttons." But anyway, it's hilarious. I had a blast hanging out with Brad doing closure school with him that day.
Oh, and he has such a great energy. He's such a cool
Oh,
dude.
he's he's
But
he's the best.
I like what you said there on so many levels because when it comes to this year or last year or any adversity, because every year brings a different adversity, let's be
Hmm.
honest. A lot of people are going to get punched in the face. A lot
Hmm.
of people may be hearing something like what you were told, which was great advice, but also could, deter some people. A lot of people are going to take that as self-defeating, but you didn't. You took that as like, hey, absolutely, I'm going to freaking be excellent. Can you walk people through how you took that feedback and internalized it in a way that was loving, kind, and motivating?
Well, I think it all depends on who the information comes from. Brad, again, we talked about Bradley just a minute ago. Brad's constantly talking about getting new information. Who are you learning from? One of my 5 core values is teachability, and we talk about it on my teams all the time, real estate and inside of GSD. And our tagline for teachability is we're not only open to feedback, but we actively pursue feedback. Like we are
Mm,
constantly learning. We are constantly going, how can we get better? How can we improve? I worked at college baseball game about 3 years ago with my good friend Jay Pierce. Now, Jay is a former minor league umpire. He worked, I don't know, several hundred games in the big leagues, spring training, AAA. Now he's a minor league evaluator. So
mm,
umpires that go into like single A, double A, triple A, and in the big leagues, you don't make that journey unless you go through Jay Pierce. He's one of the guys
mm,
you have to go through. And we were working a college baseball game, and Jay kept coming down every half inning and giving me just small pointers. Like, hey,
mm,
when you do your strike, I don't want you to do it towards the dugout. Give me a little 45-degree angle. Hey, on that foul ball that could have been a home run, I want you to work up the line to at least 45 foot. If you can get to third base, get planted when that ball's crossing the fair foul, catch no catch. And he's doing this about the fifth inning. Jay comes down because you don't do that in college baseball. Like you don't ever talk to your partner unless you've got an ejection or you've got some kind of you're going to get help on a tag play or a swipe play. You don't ever talk to your partner. Jay
Yeah.
comes down about the fifth inning, and he asked me this question. And I gave him a pen, and I gave him a pencil and a small notebook to take. I said, anything you see, Dave, write it down. I want to know. And
Yeah.
this was 4 or 5 years ago. I'm 48 years old, 49 years old at the time. I'm not a young kid who had never, I mean, I had umpired a lot of baseball. I knew
Yeah.
what the hell I was doing. Jay comes down about the fifth inning. He goes, Ken, are you okay if I keep coming down here and giving you pointers? I said, and he asked me, I said, Jay, if you told me to spin on my head on home plate during the seventh inning stretch, I would do exactly what you tell me to do because I want to get where you are.
Mm.
And that's that. When you talk about excellence, when you talk about teachability, when you talk about really leaning into learning and personal development, it's like,
Yeah.
who are you learning from? What new information? And are you teachable? The worst thing in the world is when you get someone and you can help them and you go to give them information and they go, oh yeah, I already know that. Well, if you
Mm.
already know it, why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
So when you get around people that can help you and give you information, just listen and then put it into practice.
Mm. At what point do you not listen?
When you know more than what they do. It's John Maxwell's law of the lid. It's the first law in the 21 Laws book that John wrote, the law of the lid. If you're a 7 or an 8 as a leader, you're never going to have 9s and 10s that work for you. And I was in a position years and years ago where my leader, I was a better leader than he was. And the
Mm.
moment I became a better leader than he did, I knew my days in that organization were numbered because I was a better leader than he was.
Mm.
And so what you have to do as the leader of a team, an organization, a business, a family, whatever you're leading, everybody is a leader in some capacity. You may only be leading yourself, but everyone is a leader. What am I doing to constantly raise my leadership capacity and my leadership lid, as John Maxwell refers to it? What am I doing to raise my leadership capacity? Am I reading books like Melissa Jackson's 11 Vital Success Habits? Am I walking through Brad Lee's? I see it on your thing. Am I walking through Brad's book? Here's an amazing book called Rocket Fuel from Gino Wickman on how integrators and visionaries work together. What am I doing to grow myself? What am I doing to help myself develop and me become the best version of myself? It's huge. And a lot of people, the people that lean into growth, and growth is difficult. Growth is painful. It's not fun. It's lonely. Growth isn't easy. Like when I got up to go to the gym, I didn't go to bed till late last night. I was on the West Coast for a couple of days, and it was late before I went to bed. Obviously
Mhm.
2 or 3 hours time difference. I get home, you got a little jet lag. I didn't go to bed till late. My alarm clock went off at 5 a.m. this morning for my 6 a.m. F45 gym class. I did not want to get out of bed. I
Yeah.
hit snooze this morning. For all of you guys watching me on Instagram from GSD, you're going to get this. I hit snooze this morning, and about 2 minutes into it, I said, get your ass out of bed. Go get your pre-workout. My workout clothes are already. Get out of bed and go, and let's go. Let's get some
Mhm.
stuff done. I had to talk to myself, but growth isn't easy. Growth is painful.
Mm.
Growth can be lonely. There's so many things that growth, so many obstacles in our way for growth. But when we force ourselves or put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, growth is always on the other side.
So much gold there that I think it's phenomenal. And I like your very self-reflective, humble approach to leadership. So the question I have here, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, you're talking about leadership lid. What
Right.
do you think that leadership lid has to do with the great resignation that we as a country are facing, with people being pissed that people don't want to work anymore and people not being able to keep employees?
Yeah. It's easy. You basically just answered the question. Um, there's not a lot of self-evaluation that goes on.
Mhm.
There's a lot of finger pointing. It's other people's faults. Listen, I grew up, parents were divorced when I was 8 years old. Mom moved me from Michigan, from Detroit area, Pontiac, to Georgia. I was in second grade. From sixth grade to my senior year in high school, I moved 6 times back and forth with my dad. I'd get in trouble. Mom would send me to Michigan to live with my dad. I went to 12 schools in 12 years.
Yeah.
Graduated high school. My mom filed bankruptcy. I was seventh or eighth grade, lost everything that she had. I didn't grow up with it. I grew up in a single parent home almost all the time. My mom was married several different times after her. My dad got divorced, a couple very abusive relationships. I did not grow up in a good environment.
Yeah.
Constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly in different environments. But where we're at right now in a society is it's always somebody else's fault.
Mhm.
Listen, where you are today is a result of your personal decisions.
Yeah.
You may or may not have a head start like some people have. I didn't have a head start. I literally didn't. I was just having a conversation on our call, my coaching call this week, excuse me. I was having a conversation. I remember me and my buddy that I did mortgages with, this was back in like probably 04, 05. And we were buying several rental properties in one week. And I remember doing my PFS, my personal financial statement to send over to my banker. And I remember when I put it all on there and the cash assets and all the properties, and I had 13, 14 properties at the time. My net worth was like 1.2 million. I was a quote unquote millionaire.
Yeah.
And this was in 05, 06. And I grew up in an unbelievably difficult situation. I mean, my
Yeah.
neighborhood in Pontiac that I grew up with and lived with my dad, we lived in my aunt and uncle's basement. My dad worked at General Motors in Pontiac. I remember getting beat up for 50 cents when I
Damn.
went to Pontiac Northern coming home. I'm talking about beat up like black eye, busted lip, like beat up for 50 cents that I had in my pocket. Like my neighborhood was hard. Where you are and where you're going has nothing to do with anything other than decisions that you make on a daily basis. I
Mhm.
call it, the concept I created is called incremental, not monumental. Small, daily, disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. If you do the right things every single day, success can't escape you.
Mm. So you think there's a lack of self-discipline and a lack of consistent action by these leaders, and that's why they're not able to keep employees?
I think it's obviously that is the law of the lid, but
Yeah.
it can be mindset. It can be
Yeah.
limiting beliefs like fear, insecurity, scarcity, comparison, shame. Some people have a limiting belief of success. They don't believe that they can be successful. Some
Mhm.
people don't believe that they deserve to be successful.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't get what well, let me say, you do get what you deserve. What you put in is always going to be what you get out. And
Yeah.
it may not happen the way you want to quickly. And I've said this so many times. We tend to overestimate what we can do in the short term and underestimate what we can do in the long term. This is
Yeah.
a long-term play. This isn't a
Mhm.
short term. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Business
Yeah.
and life.
Yeah. Damn, that's freaking huge, man. That's huge. So you came from a rough background. That's I did not know all of that.
Yeah.
How did you become you? How did you make that decision? Because there was that pivotal moment that you're talking about with the minister group
Mhm.
that that person told you that. But it sounds to me, and let me know if I'm mistaken, that you made a decision for excellence maybe way before that, given your background and given even what you were doing at that time to get that feedback from the minister group. So how did you overcome those challenges? Single
Vision.
household
Yeah,
abuse, all that.
vision. It's all about vision. It's all about vision. Everything is about vision. And when I had the vision, I knew what I wanted to do in my youth ministry days. I knew I wanted to help as many students and teenagers that I could because I didn't have that opportunity growing up. I didn't
Mm,
have someone. One of the greatest things I do, I was on a call with a young kid, Dylan Smith. He's in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, or he's 20 years old. He was at Matt's conference that Floyd Mayweather was at, that you were
yeah,
at, that I emceed and spoke at as well.
you
And I
talked
had a
about it.
conversation with him about he's doing an event. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
He's doing his own event. And for me to be able to spend time, I mean, I don't like if you want an hour of my time, it's going to have a comma in that check. Like
Yeah.
I don't do it for free.
Yeah.
But for guys like that who are 20
Mm,
years old that I can help pour into and mentor and shape, dude, I
mm,
will spend as much time with you as you need because I didn't have that. So going into student ministry, trying to build a youth ministry, trying to help the students of my community, I knew that, man. I've got this burning passion, vision, desire on the inside of me. So when I get information on how to do that, my feelings don't matter. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to do this with excellence. I'm looking at an old building that's all kind of jacked up. It's not friendly to students. It was terrible. We went in. I literally took this. This is probably a deeper story than we got time to get into today. But I literally took $700 or $800, the last money I had in my savings account, and literally went in and bought lights, park cans with the color gels and a little board. And we painted the room and did something and made it look really, really cool. Like in 2 or 3 days to do it with excellence. Because when I heard Willie George talk about kids aren't ashamed of God, they're just ashamed of their youth group, I said, well, they're not going to be ashamed of this one anymore. Like we're going to, and then that from that point, that happened in October. From that point, I came back in that weekend. Check this out. I spoke that Wednesday night. I had like 17 kids. I said, in 6 months, we're going to take an offering up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to build the #1 youth ministry in America. That's exactly what I told them. And I said, we had 17 kids in my youth ministry. I said, we're going to take an offering up. We're going to raise $10,000 in 6 months. We're going to take an offering up because we're moving into this new building. They're going to give us X square feet, and this is what it's going to look like. We built out. So not only did I took an offering up. We went from 17 kids to about 150 in about 6 months. I had about 50 kids in my Sunday school class, like the time before, when you get with the kids the time before you go into service. We took up a $5,400 offering from 51 teenagers.
Wow.
That catapulted into raising $75,000, which gave us the ability to build out a 7,200 square foot state of the art. This is in 1998, 1999. Nobody in America, one person, had what we had. We had a 2,400 square foot 50s diner cafe. Looked like you walked back into Happy Days.
Yeah.
Neon stuff on the walls. We had PlayStation 2s. Nobody had PlayStation 2s. Ping pong tables, pool tables, really cool environment for kids to hang out, full restaurant, the whole 9 yards. Like, my lighting and sound system inside of my youth facility rivaled any bar or nightclub in the Atlanta area. It was the best.
Wow.
And we did that. Literally, we went from 17 kids to 150 kids to 300 kids to 400 kids to almost 500 kids. We couldn't even put them in the building. We had so many students coming in. And it all started with the whole talk on excellence. No matter what you have, use and do and steward what you have with excellence. Doesn't have to be a lot, but you can do excellence. And excellence isn't equated or tied to money. Yeah. Excellence is tied to your attitude and your mental state.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit. And those are some freaking huge goals, man. Like, that's a huge life transformation.
Was insane.
What I also like about you is you talk about the incremental, not monumental. So can you explain to somebody that's sitting here like, okay, that's great, Ken. Like, you've done a bunch of cool things, but XYZ is going on and I can't do those big goals. Can you talk to somebody and explain to them the incremental, not monumental, as to how they can get to that big vision and how you do that?
Here's what I would say. Number one, what you just said is an excuse. Don't give me an excuse on why you can't do it. I don't care what's going on.
Yep.
Anything that keeps you from doing what's in your heart is an excuse or a limiting belief. So I've got affirmations are a huge part. Like, I have my affirmations in my GSD planner. I've got my affirmations written down right there. I have 4 of them. The number one affirmation that I talk about a lot is I will live a life where my heart, my head, and my relationships are in alignment. So affirmations are what we use to get rid of limiting beliefs, fear, insecurity, scarcity, comparison. Those are probably the top 4. Shame and success are the 6 that we talk about and help people identify, remove, and replace. I saw Jimmy put that on Instagram Live just a minute ago. The way we replace those is we do those through affirmations. I will live a life where my heart, it's where I dream. It's where I paint the picture. It's where I see what my future looks like. My head, unfortunately, is where my belief system is located. My belief system dictates how I speak. How I speak dictates how I act. How I act dictates my future and my destiny, good or bad. So if my heart and my head aren't in alignment, the things that are in my heart are never going to come to pass. Yeah. So if I can get my mindset and the way I think to be in alignment with my heart, what happens is then I start seeing things come to pass in my life, and I gain what John Maxwell says, the law of the big mo. I start gaining momentum. Listen,
Yeah.
when you have momentum, the impossible seems possible. When you don't have momentum, even the possible seems impossible. So what happens is heart and alignment, heart and head in alignment. Then what I saw, and that used to be the end of the affirmation. But
Yeah.
once I started getting my heart and my head in alignment and I started seeing things come to pass,
Yeah.
what happened was the relationship component and all the relationships started coming into my life.
Yeah.
And when your heart, your head, and your relationships get in alignment, then it is unbelievable what you can see take place in your life.
Wow. That's holy shit. And that's huge. That's huge because I think a lot of people, they don't realize what their belief system is.
Mm.
And they don't have that alignment. They don't. A lot of people have a broken lens that they see life through. And I think that it's a really big thing that a lot of people need to implement. It makes me think of, I know
Mm.
you're a big NF fan, but he has a
I love
song
him.
where he,
Yeah.
I know, I love that dude. I've been listening to him for years. I'm like,
He's
there's just
amazing.
an NF playlist all day long. But he has a song about talking, seeing life through a broken lens. And there's another, a little bit of an echo, but there's another quote by Will Smith. I don't remember how it goes, but he talks about taking other people's conversations to you or other people's limitations to you and basically destroying your dreams with it is like
Mm.
judging your appearance based on a broken mirror.
Mm.
Like we have to understand that how we see life or how other people see us is often altered by the mirror or the belief system that they were given, which
Mm.
often is not created intentionally.
Mm.
So, can you walk through how you change your mindset and make it so that's an alignment?
Yeah, so the affirmations are huge. We talked about affirmations. I have
Yeah,
four. That's I live a life where my heart, head, and relationships are in alignment. Number two is I have a millionaire mindset. If you haven't read The Millionaire Mindset by T. Harv Eker, it's a phenomenal book. My buddy Carlos Reyes says it's his favorite book of all time.
mm,
I have a millionaire mindset. I am whole. I choose to
mm,
use past pain to help others find healing. Because
yeah,
listen, if you're alive longer than 10 minutes, you're going to have relationship problems. Somebody's going to hurt you. You're going to do something stupid. Listen, we are imperfect creatures.
mm,
We make mistakes. And
yeah,
listen, how do I know if I'm whole or not? When somebody
yeah,
makes a mistake and does something, against you, or they do something that hurts you, how do you respond? Do you respond with grace and mercy, or do you
yeah,
respond with offense?
yeah,
Because listen, when you respond with offense and you refuse to give people grace and mercy and you refuse to forgive people, now don't hear me say something I'm not. Just because you give someone grace and mercy and you forgive someone doesn't mean you got to go to dinner with them tomorrow.
yeah,
One of my most difficult conversations that I ever had was with one of my pastors that I served on staff with. I had moved to Texas. I came back to get some business done. I came in to meet with him. Now, this was one of my spiritual mentors. I wasn't the one that's supposed to be calling this meeting, but I
yeah,
went in there. I never forget. I had my Palm Pilot. Remember Palm Pilots way back in the days? This was like 2000. I had my
mm,
Palm 5, and I had some bullet point notes in there. But one of the things I said to him was this: listen, I would not be where I'm at today if it weren't for you.
yeah,
Now, I want to be able to hear your name in the future, and I want you to be able to hear my name, and neither one of us go, like get that cringe because there's something that we're withholding. I said, and this is what I said: we may never go to dinner together or hang out together like we did in the past, and that's okay. But I just want, when you hear something that's going on in my life, you can celebrate it in your heart. And when I hear
mm,
something's going on in your heart, I can celebrate in your life. I can celebrate it in my heart.
mm,
Because how do I know I'm whole? When I can have somebody who's offended, done something wrong to me, that it may be intentional, may be unintentional. I can
yeah,
offer them grace and forgive them and let them move on, and I can move on. Listen, when you refuse to forgive somebody, it's like drinking rat poison and expecting the other person to die.
it's a great idea, man.
All it does is affect you. It doesn't affect the other person. It
Yeah,
only affects you in a negative way. So I am whole. I choose to use past pain to help others find healing. I am enough because I am his child. So number one, how do we get rid of limiting beliefs? We do that through affirmations, through our mind and what we're telling ourselves. I do my limiting beliefs. I had a really good friend of mine called me one day and she said, Ken, when you do your affirmations, do you look at yourself in the mirror? And I was like, no, this is just a few months ago. I've been
yeah,
teaching on affirmations for a year and a half. So
Yeah.
what I do is I either do them in my mirror in my bathroom, I do them on my phone, I'll turn the camera on and stare at myself, or I do it in my rearview mirror in my car on the way to the gym in the morning. Ken,
Hmm.
you are whole. You will use past pain to help others find healing. You have a millionaire mindset. Like I speak those things. So that's one aspect of getting rid of limiting beliefs. The second aspect is this, and this is huge. It's always about relationships. Get in rooms with people who think bigger than you do. The
Yeah.
first conversation I ever had with Grant Cardone was an impromptu conversation, October of 2019, in a hallway when I was asking about what does becoming a Grant Cardone licensee look like. And I looked at Grant. Grant stood there, all 5'5" of himself, and he said, "What are you here for?" He put his finger out my face. He goes, "What are you here for?" I said, "I am here to blow the lid off of my belief of what's a lot of money because I want
Hmm.
to help. I want to help a lot of people." And
Yeah.
we had a 5-minute conversation. And Grant looked at me and goes, "Ken, if you'll let me, I'll help you." And I said, "Yes, sir. I'm in."
Yeah.
But that's how you do it. Affirmations and in the right relationships. If
Yeah.
you have those two components, here's what it does. So good. If you're watching this, you need to write this down. Here's what it does. It not only helps us rewire, it helps us identify limiting beliefs, because many of us, we don't even understand that we struggle with limiting beliefs until we get around people who are at higher levels than us. And what it does is it begins to expose things in our mindset, because
Mm.
we can't think the way they think.
Yeah.
When I sat down an hour after that first conversation I had with Grant in a Q&A, I was working a $3 million commercial real estate deal. $78,720 was my commission. I sat down in that Q&A with 25, 30 people, grabbed the mic. I've got the first question for Grant.
Hmm.
And I pitched my deal. Grant, I'm representing a buyer, $3 million building in Atlanta, commercial piece of property. Our appraisal came in at 2.625 million. The seller, it's an unlisted property. The seller is a 72-year-old Chinese guy who doesn't speak English. My representation, if you will, is his 22-year-old grad student daughter. What do I
Hmm.
do?
Yeah.
And Grant looks across the table at me. He goes, "Ken, buy the building." And I said, "Grant, we're $375,000 short on the appraisal." He goes, "I understand. But
Yeah.
if your client overpays for the building now, someone else will overpay for it later on."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." Called my client on the phone at 5 o'clock that day. I said, "Hey, I'm down here in 10X boot camp with this guy named Grant Cardone." Steve goes, "Oh, I love Grant. I've got money invested in Cardone Capital." I said, "Fantastic. Here's what he told me to do." And
Yeah.
he said, "Let's buy the building." I flew home on Monday. I negotiated a seller held second with that seller for the 375,000 we were short, and we closed on Wednesday. I made $78,720. I would never have closed that building had I not been in that room with Grant and Grant not said, "Buy the building. If
Yeah.
you overpay for it now, somebody will overpay for it when you sell it." It didn't even register because my belief lid was not high enough.
Yeah.
So you want to get rid of limiting beliefs, affirmations, get around the right people.
I love that. And I love the importance of getting around other people that are doing bigger things, because that, similar to your thing of conflict, exposing if you're whole,
Mm,
really helps you with getting whole with your affirmations. Because a
yes.
lot of times your haters are not doing something bigger than you. A lot of times, if you're surrounded by the people that are just going to the freaking bar every single night, they're going to help reinforce negative affirmations. In listening to you and watching you, what I would like the viewers to also get is affirmations are extremely important, but also so is not lying to yourself.
Mm,
And what you do is you actually go to make those affirmations true. Every single day that you're incremental, not monumental, and you wake up and you're like, "I'm going to the gym," that's self-confidence that you're
hmm
building for
hmm
more positive
hmm
affirmations. If you were
hmm
saying, "Hey, I'm going to be a multimillionaire," while eating ho-hos and Twinkies and friggin' Christmas cookies, you're gonna think affirmations are bullshit. And I think a lot of people think affirmations are bullshit
Right.
because they're taking that
Right.
approach to it.
Right.
They're not actually making it true.
No, I agree. Part of my journey, and I know we're
Nice. Yeah.
off my body now. How did I
Yeah.
do it? Small, daily, disciplined decisions over time, always, always, always equal monumental results. Success cannot escape you if you do the right things every single day. How did I
Yeah.
lose 75 pounds? When I put that before and after picture up in Miami, when I put that before and after picture up in Vegas at my event, people are like, it's not even, we can talk about business growth. We can talk about, how much GSD's grown. We can talk about, we did 1.75 million in real estate transactions last month. We got another 625,000 closing tomorrow. I just closed a 286 or 276 last week. I got another one going under contract tomorrow. I can talk about all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But when I put that before and after picture up, people go, dang, like that's transformation. Grant
Mm-hmm.
says all the time, you can fake a Lambo, but you can't fake a jet. My saying is you can fake a Lambo, but you can't fake a before and after picture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, if you will be disciplined, and here's the kicker: discipline begins where inspiration ends.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be inspired every single day. You're not going to
Yeah.
get up every day fired up, ready to go. Now, you can do that 6 out of 7 days, or you can
Yeah.
do that 5 out of 7 days, but there's going to be times where you get up and you're like, ain't feeling it today. Those
Yeah.
are the days you go to the gym anyway. Those are the days you make your 150 phone calls anyway. Those are the days you get up and write down your affirmations and your goals anyway. Those are
Yeah.
the days you do your top 3 anyway. Like those are
Mm-hmm.
the days you plow through those days.
Yes.
Because when I was talking to the young kid yesterday about his event, he said, dude, I'm scared to death. I said, good. So am I. He
Yeah.
goes, what do you mean? Dude, you've got John Maxwell coming to your event. I said, dude, John Maxwell cost me nearly 6 figures to get in. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to death too. It looks sexy and it looks great on Instagram, but it's a huge freaking risk to do what we're doing. People go, oh, Ken, I wish I could lose the weight, or, oh, Ken, I wish I could do an event. Well, you can if you risk. You can if you'll practice incremental, not monumental. Listen, I got this. My first book just came out 2 months ago. I've got a call after this call with my publisher and my ghostwriter. Guess what I'm doing? I'm
Mm.
about to do my second book.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and
Let's go.
and why am I doing it? Because I got a friend of mine who's really close to me who's done 3 this year. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, now I can't let you outdo me. Like I've got to go, I got to get another book, and I've got it in me. Like it's in me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Listen, you can do more than you're doing
Yeah.
because you can become more than you can become. I think that's a Jim Rohn statement. You can do more than you are doing because you can become more than you are now. But the process takes time. Like people want this, and we have in America this Orville Redenbacher, I just want it in 10 minutes. It just doesn't happen that way. I didn't, that before and after picture, there were several after pictures in
Mm-hmm.
between that before and after picture. And I've got another 30 pounds that I want to lose. So
Yeah.
I'll have another before and after picture. The before picture
Yeah.
is always going to say the same, but the after picture will change, but it will only change through daily discipline. It will
Mm.
only change. Small daily discipline decisions over time always equal monumental results. And you can't stop. Like you
Yeah.
have to keep doing it every single day. Troy
Damn.
Hoffman, what's
Okay.
up, baby? I see you on Instagram Live right there.
Well, I love that so much. How do you, this will be my last question for you, and then people that don't know, you can come and go and join because I know you got to jump on another meeting. How do you suggest people embrace the challenges, the suck, for lack of a better term, the overcoming those cold nights that you don't want to work out,
Yeah.
all of these things that are the small incremental changes that are not the sexy crap that you see on Instagram, like the small movements. Like everyone thinks entrepreneurship is the glitz and glam and Lambos. It's like, no, it's all the mundane shit that no one wants to do.
That's exactly right.
How do you help somebody embrace and enjoy and appreciate that daily grind?
Learn how to, one of the things that we did, and I'm going to make a pitch. This is a huge sell right here because these are $30. It'll break your bank. Let me show you one of the things we put on here for all of you guys. You see this category right here? This says wins. It
Mm-hmm.
says wins. At the end of the day today, there's 3 things we do. I've got wins. I've got 1% better. I'm going to write my goals down for a second time. Those of you go on IG, check that. That's a scoreboard. You see that? There's a scoreboard 1 through 10. I'm going to rate my day. But the first thing I do is I'm going to look for where did I win today? Yeah, everybody watching, all you guys on Instagram land, all you guys on podcast land, everybody here's been to a T-ball game. You been to a T-ball game? Yeah, everybody's been. There's 30 kids on the field. Half of them have no idea what's going on. One of them's picking dandelions. One of them's picking their nose. One of them's chasing butterflies. Johnny hits the ball off the tee. He's running to third base. He has no idea what he's doing. The
Yeah.
coach grabs him, points him to first. Grandparents, mom, dad, sisters, brothers, and they're all screaming for Johnny. Excitement, entertainment. Everybody's having a blast. But at the end of the hour, you go home from the T-ball game, and nobody knows who won or lost because they don't keep score.
Mm.
Here's the reality, and this is why I put a scoreboard on the bottom of every page of our planner. Listen, if you don't keep score, you're not going to know whether or not you're winning. You know how I know if I'm winning? Number one, I can look at my before and after picture now. I've got a tape measure sitting in my master bathroom. I have a tape measure sitting on my counter. It's been sitting there for almost 2 years. It's been a year and a half since I started my journey. You know what I do about every 3 to 4 weeks? I pick that tape measure up and I wrap it around my chest. I wrap it around my belly button area. I wrap it around my thighs because I want to know, am I losing inches? What is this? Because I'm constantly keeping score. So what I'm doing when I look for wins every day, I'm building momentum. I'm building momentum. And some days, let's just be really honest with you. Some days you get punched in the gut and you don't feel like looking for wins. Where did I win today? I don't care if it's small. It doesn't have to be ginormous wins. Small wins, incremental, not monumental, small daily decisions over time. Not huge daily decisions, small. Just do the small things every single day and keep score. Where are you going? Think first downs, not touchdowns.
Yes.
Just move the ball 10 yards. You got 4 downs. Move the ball 10 yards down the field, get 4 more downs. Move the ball 10 more yards in 4 downs, get a first down, and move it again. That's all you have to do. Before you know it, you're going to wind up in the end zone and you're going to score some points. And you're going to feel good and you're going to know that you're winning.
I like that. And I'll just piggyback on what you said there because I think it's huge. I always say to people that the difference between success and failure is negative and positive momentum. But I think that we tend to focus on the negative momentum, that upset client or that bad conversation with your spouse or whatever it may be. And we focus on that. And that makes it so we're on that downward cycle of negative momentum where if we focused on our wins, we would realize we're winning a hell of a lot more than we're losing almost every single day, every interaction, whatever it is. Almost always we're winning more than we're losing. So I love that. That daily win tracking and scoring your day. That's how you're going to keep that positive momentum. That's how you're going to focus on it.
Huge. Jimmy, drop the planner link in there. I know Jimmy's on one of my team guys. Drop that planner link in the Instagram live right there. Guys, listen, I'm telling you, if you'll simply do them every day consistently, you'll look up in 90 days, you won't even recognize who you are. You literally won't even recognize who you are and where your life is headed.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Cool. Well, this was a fantastic interview. Can you share with the people where they can find you, where they can follow you? Obviously, the book for the planner will be on this when it gets posted as well.
Yeah, so growstackdrive.com, growstackdrive.com/Atlanta is our event. Actually, we're going to use your event space. So yours is what? growstackdrive.com/
Melissa, spelled terribly. Mallisa.
I had you in my phone as Malissa until 2 weeks ago, and then I changed it. Now I was like,
I love how autocorrect will change my name to Mall USA, and I'm like, dude, I put on a little bit away from the shoulder surgery, but I'm not the size of a mall. Let's be real now.
Come on, girl. I saw your post today. You've lost a couple pounds.
Yeah, I'm down 2 more. I'm in a 100-mile bike race in June and then a bikini competition next year. So it'll come back.
Are you going to do the bikini competition on the bike for the 100 miles or no?
No, it'll be in June and November. Well, that one would be very cold.
Yes, there you go. Make a good bikini competition though, wouldn't it?
There you go. I'd win my own self bike race. It'd be great.
That's exactly right. You pedal faster to get warm.
Exactly. There you go. Well, thanks so much for joining this and really excited. If you guys are watching this, please, please follow Ken. He's absolutely amazing. His content's phenomenal and go and check him out. Check out his book. I'm going through it right now and check out his planner. I absolutely love everything you talk about, everything you stand for, Ken. So thanks so much for coming on here. And
I appreciate
it's been
it.
an honor.
I'm just glad I'm on
Perfect.
the bookshelf next to Uncle
You're,
G,
exactly.
Rock, and Bradley over there.
You're famous, man. It's great. Perfect. Well, thank you guys on Instagram for joining. And thanks so much, Ken, for coming on here.
Love you, Instagram world. Let's go make it
Bye.
happen. growstatdrive.com/Melissa.
Yeah,
Mallisa.
there you go.